Hey traders, Raghee here, and in this video I'm going to discuss a very simple but powerful concept that has kept us focusing on the high probability long side of this market and when we made that transition and how I continue to measure that. So probably the most popular question that I get is, Raghee, we're at these higher highs, we're at all-time highs, are you ready for a snapback? Is this where we start buying puts? And frankly, a lot of questions that revolve around possibly fading this move. And that's not something that I would encourage at this point. And here's why. So first of all, if a market wants to keep going higher, let it. Engage it when you can and how you can to the long side. But don't assume that you're going to pick a top, right? It's just as, I believe, futile as picking a bottom. And so, in fact, I think picking the top is even more futile because the path of least resistance is to the upside. But that's opinion, right? How do I put something in place to give me a process behind that? And the process that I use is using volume weighted average price. And it goes like this. So I have a volume weighted average price that's anchored to the first of the month. And I'll re-anchor that every month. So next month, I'll have one anchored to the 1st of December. Right now, it's anchored to the 1st of November. The other one that I use is one that's anchored on what we call a rolling 10-day basis. So the way we do that is that we have the 16th, that's today. The 15th would be day 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Boom, that's it. That's it. Don't make it any more complicated than that. I anchor to the 6th tomorrow. I'll look to count back. And if the day lands on a Saturday or Sunday, I'll just continue to use that Friday that preceded it. So now what? Well, the VWAPs are really important within the context of a yellow, sideways, non-trending market. Yes, we're up, but this bullishness actually does not qualify as a trend. So just for contrast purposes, let me show you what does qualify as a trend on that same ES chart. So here we are looking at a different tool. This is taking the JT trend tool, which measures the 8, 13, 21 exponential moving averages, their relation to each other, and then the 34 EMA wave. So I have two labels up here. We call that the JT trend based on my work around exponential moving averages and their relationship. Easy label. And then we have the history of it down here at the bottom. The first rows here are one symbol. The second row here is a separate symbol. So let's say we want to compare the S&P. Well, we could just compare it to the S&P. We don't have to compare it to anything else. But let's see here. What if I do a heavily weighted sector within the S&P? So I'll do XLK, the XLK ETF. And the S&P will plot automatically because that's the symbol of this chart. So I've got the S&P here, first top two rows, XLK bottom two rows. Through here, green, 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 that's an uptrend. Same through here, green, 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 uptrend. Back in here, uptrend, uptrend. There's certain pockets of this market that are clearly quite bullish. Right now, it's not. Right now, it's more chop than bullish. It can be choppy and bullish, but it's not necessarily bullish uptrend. So this is where, when I don't have the ability to use the structure of the wave label to say we're in a trend, this is where it's even more important to, again, let me do this one more time so you guys can see. I want to have the end of the month. I'm sorry, the month, end of month. So 11/1, and then the other one that I want to have here is that rolling 10-day, and that right now is on the 6th of this month. So 2020 11/06. And that gives me my two averages. So that's what we want to continue to do. VWAPs are going to be very important in this yellow market. Now, what if we have, for example, in the XLU, I have a double green in the XLU. I don't really care much from a perspective of directional bias what the VWAPs are telling me. Those are going to be interesting and effective support and resistance, a little bit of nuance in the trend, but it's not needed because the broader sector is double green. So the emphasis and the reliance of the VWAPs is basically nil for the directional bias. Get the directional bias right, find the path of least resistance, and you will find the higher probability trades. I'll see you in the next update.